Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and non-binaries. Welcome back to another episode of the Chamber of the Wraith's DC Legends Showcase. My name is Barbara, and today we are tackling the Army of One, the Caped Crusader's cousin herself, Batwoman. Now, Batwoman, for those not in the know, is indeed Bruce Wayne's cousin. Her name is Kate Kane, she is military trained, and she is one of a unfortunately small handful of LGBTQ DC characters, as she is a lesbian. Relationships to Renee Montoya aside, I mean, who wouldn't want to be kissing this lady? Let's talk a little bit about what Batwoman brings to the table and what her niche is. She's a physical type character who brings the hurt, especially when she is allowed to go invisible. Batwoman is one of those characters that really likes to be aggressive support, kind of like Supergirl. So let's take a look at what she brings to the table. Keep in mind, most of these skills have been upgraded. You can see what upgrades exist off to the right here. Her base skill is Neutralize and Destroy, which is damage to an enemy and apply 4 critical damage downs, but it starts with 2. The legendary power is an extra 5% true damage per invisible teammate. True damage is damage that cannot be avoided, and most crucially, is based off of the character's maximum hit points. It's kind of like those moves It's kind of like... The best way to describe it is that your damage will overall vary, depending on buffs and debuffs and stuff like that. But this true damage never changes. You'll always land 5% of an opponent's maximum health, 10, 15%, depending on how many of your allies are invisible. There's great team synergy with my Gotham Knights team that I would love to show off, and I think I will. And one of these days when I get this, I will. But I have focused her legendary focuses elsewhere, as you will soon see. Stealth Ops, a direct buff. It starts off giving you invisibility and 1 strength up. Not great. At least in the later levels. But as you level it up, she starts gaining turn meter and more strength ups, and eventually reaches up to 20% turn meter up, which means she can take her turn sooner if she uses this attack, which has a 1-turn cooldown. I forgot to state what the cooldown was for Supergirl's moves, but they are both 2 turns apiece for the Boulder Slam and the Strength of Hope. With the legendary upgrade, all benefits get doubled if Batwoman is already invisible. So, pairing her up with somebody who can give her invisibility or reset her cooldowns, thus allows her to potentially get up to 6 strength ups and up to 40% turn meter, and 2 invisibilities to boot, which means that when buffs get purged, her invisibility is less likely to go away, which is especially huge for her 3rd attack, Piercing Grapple. Damage to an enemy. At the start, this attack deals an extra 60% damage if she's invisible. But by the time you get it to level 6, its additional damage is maxed out at an extra 80%. That is absolutely nothing to sneeze at when you consider... just how much damage this can do on a single target. Pardon me, I believe I have to... Yeah, I have to let the dog out, so I will take care of that right quick. We'll let you out, come on. And if you can hear her, it's all good. Okay, out you get. Oh, that's what that is. Weird. But as you can see, its legendary buff is crazy too. Use Piercing Grapple on a random enemy if target is killed by this attack. So, if you use it to close out an enemy on the turn, you can then use it again on a random target and potentially snag 2 kills, which is really nice, because when you snag those 2 kills, that's half the enemy team gone. Especially when you consider that while she's invisible, she has that damage buff, meaning that she's much more likely to bag that kill. Next up is Kane Legacy, one of her passives. Let's see, 35, 33, 31, 29, 27, 25. I think it starts at 25% chance to apply 4 crit damage downs at the beginning of each enemy turn, going up to 40%. There we go. Now you feel better, I hope. Her legendary upgrade, Military Preparedness, allows her to use Stealth Ops at the start of battle. However, it automatically applies the cooldown, which is a little bit iffy, but if you're intending on opening up with Piercing Grapple anyways, this is not a bad shout, because you open up with Piercing Grapple, then you go back invisible. Because remember, it's only a 1-turn cooldown. Piercing Grapple, I believe, has a 3-turn cooldown, but we will see in another fight. And finally, Payback. This is the moneymaker for Batwoman, in my opinion, alongside Piercing Grapple. At the end of each enemy turn, a chance to deal light damage to the attacker per ally hit. Now, this doesn't sound great at first. It's like, okay, it's a cute counterattack, but it's not that useful, right? Every ally that gets hit, the attack value goes up by 100%. So if, let's say, your entire team gets smacked in the face by a Supergirl Heat Vision, and Payback kicks in, well, suddenly, that goes from being a light damaging attack to a pretty respectable normal attack. It'd be like if you just hit her with a basic for free for hitting your teammates because it stacks. And it is indeed possible to get a guaranteed counterattack. Starts at, let's see, if that's 85, 80, 75, 70, 65, starts at 60%, and it goes up to a full 100% guarantee. And when this bad boy gets upgraded, each time Batwoman gains invisibility on an ally's turn, like say someone gives her invisibility, then she gains awareness too, meaning that she becomes immune to any one damaging move. That's what awareness does. Think of it as a one attack full block, and these can stack too. So as you saw with Deathstroke in the last video, I neglected to talk about it, but Deathstroke starts with a certain amount of awareness each turn. So if he has 3 stacks of awareness, he could take any 3 hits thrown at him for free, no matter how big or small. A really good way to deal with awareness, actually, is to use Bleed, which we will talk about with another character a little ways down the line. But that's Batwoman in a nutshell. She is very aggressive support. Big damage, counterattacks, reducing crit damage, and using invisibility to her advantage. Which leads one to wonder, well, how good is that invisibility actually? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's take this to a campaign battle so I can show you what I mean. Show you the proof in the pudding, as it were. We'll make it heroic even, just because is this good enough? Yeah, it's good enough, because I want some Bizarro shards. So this team consists of Nightwing, Cassandra Cain, Spoiler, and Batwoman, aka the Superior Gotham Knights. Jokes about that certain video game aside, we're going to be focusing predominantly on Batwoman and what she brings to the table. So we're just going to be playing as normal. Here we go. Nightwing is going to be really fun to talk about because he is very much a team player, and he has a team leader bonus too. So now it's Batwoman's turn. Notice how several enemies are not only bleeding, but are relatively low on health. And she's invisible. So Piercing Grapple gets the kill. Nightwing assists. Batwoman goes again. Gets another kill. That was 2 kills of ludicrous ease. We're going to let Spoiler do the buff thingy. Nightwing comes in for the assist, and that straight up kills him. But take note, now, when Batwoman goes for Stealth Ops, she has 40% turn meter and a lot of strength all of a sudden. All of a sudden, her next attack is going to do big damage. And I believe her counterattack is buffed by Strength Ups too, so anybody that that tries to attack Nightwing and deals damage could become a problem. Except remember, Nightwing is the only one not invisible except for Cassandra Cain. And he has damage immunity. Oh, well, it was gone, but now he has agility's up, so he can take the hits pretty well. Now let's try and finish these guys off. See if Batwoman can come in for an assist. Nope, it's gonna be Nightwing. Glory Hound. But now Batwoman, boom, there it is. See how, that would have probably done about 600 damage normally if it wasn't for the strength ups. So it does work with the counters. And that's an example of how Nightwing took damage to the shield and Batwoman was able to counter beautifully. She moves in, does some damage, and she's still invisible because of what was given to her by Nightwing. Now this is where things are going to get messy because Hawkgirl is an energy type character and they are all greens. So, and she has an AoE attack. So this will be interesting, but I genuinely think we'll be okay. This is just going to take a little bit longer than expected, but that's Batwoman in a nutshell. She's high damage, really likes to play with enemies or with allies that allow her to go invisible, and she loves snagging kills and dealing 8,000 damage. Yeah, see, that hurt. But then I get the counterattack, and, well, we'll talk about Cassandra Cain a little bit later. Enemy delays, throw in some damage here or there. We'll pick off some Manhunters, because I don't have to worry too much. Especially thanks to some of the shenanigans that Nightwing could get up to with WAP. There we go. Giving people invisibility. Hitting guys multiple times. Okay, that was, I believe, some turn meter. Buff up Batwoman. Gain some invisibility and some powers up. Some strength ups. The counterattack kills that Manhunter. Note that 3 enemies took damage there. So she managed to deal about 1,300 damage, and Cassandra Cain comes in to help close the deal. Boom. That is not what I'm talking about. Now, one thing to keep in mind about invisibility, which is relevant to Batwoman here because she can grant herself invisibility, is if every enemy is... You can't kind of cheese it to where everybody's invincible if you give everybody invisibility. If everybody's invisible, nobody's invisible. Everybody gets opened up to targets. And if you taunt an invisible enemy, like Stephanie Brown is actually capable of, then they functionally lose the benefits of invisibility in terms of not being targeted. That's just something you need to keep in mind. Invisibility, it sounds simple on paper, but in terms of anti-cheese, there's actually quite a bit of it. And that's Batwoman in a nutshell. I should note that Batwoman is a 25 shard character, meaning that she gets unlocked at 2 stars, unlike Supergirl getting unlocked at 3 stars. This means that her 3 main attacks are available to you from the start, allowing you to already synergize really well with Batwoman. But like Supergirl, her true potential reaches once she gets 5 stars. Well, I think Supergirl actually really reaches her potential at 4 stars, but you get what I mean. Like, where her potential starts to get really good is after an upgrade or 2. But once that's done, this lady is ready to whoop some serious ass. Don't forget to be awesome, my friends. And next time, we're going to be taking a look at the Reaper of the Speed Force, the Black Flash. We'll see you guys on the other side, and don't forget to be awesome.